Today's episode is brought to you by Sublime Graphics. Sublime Graphics is the printer of choice for your PDF sewing patterns, digital artwork, personalized mugs, and graphic tees. They offer a variety of paper choices and fast turnaround. Check them out at www.sublimegraphics, that's grafx.com/CIA. That's graphics spelled GRAFX. Podcast listeners get a $5 off coupon. Thank you so much, Sublime Graphics. And now, here's the show. Welcome to episode 233 of the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg. Craft Industry Alliance is a community for craft professionals where you can strengthen your creative business, stay up to date on industry news, and build connections within our supportive trade association. Check it out at craftindustryalliance.org. Today on the show, we're talking about modern quilting with my guest, Porfiria Gomez. Porfiria is a sewing enthusiast, a self-proclaimed designer, and a blogger. She is a native New Yorker, and she learned to sew from her mother. Now she is a modern quilter, a teacher, and an author. Porfiria Gomez, welcome.
How are you? I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. I've admired your beautiful quilts for a long time, and I'm excited to learn more about how you make them. So I know you mentioned in your bio that you're a native New Yorker. Did you grow up in the Bronx?
Yes, born and raised in the Bronx, New York. I've lived here most of my life. And then when I met my husband, I moved to Brooklyn. So I think I'm always going to be a native New Yorker. New York is where the heart is. I don't see myself going anywhere else. My mom is actually from North Carolina. So summers were spent on the farm in North Carolina. But true to my form is definitely the Bronx and Brooklyn and Manhattan. That's where I am. That's my love. That's my inspiration.
And what were you like as a kid? Were you like always artistic, or were you into other things, different things when you were little?
Oh, wow. That's such an awesome question. I was totally like a crafter, a maker. I would Google and gaga over like handcrafted things. I just love making stuff. Like I always loved painting and creative arts. My mom was a big crafter herself, but she would sew. I would watch her sew, and she was into crocheting and knitting, and she loved just putting things together in the house. So I just grew up seeing that, and I guess I just followed suit, and I just fell in love with it. So I was the type of kid that was always trying to create something. I can remember one Christmas, it stands out to me all the time, where my mom bought me like these envelopes, stationery papers, and it came with a pen and the papers. And I was just so in love by the pretty flowers and on the pen and on the papers. So I was that little girl always trying to make something, trying to create something, or just in love with art, all around art. So that was me. I was a dancer. I loved everything about the arts and creativity from a very early age.
And you were a dancer as well?
Yes, I used to be a modern dancer. I did tap. I love tap dancing. A lot of people don't know that about me. I went to Broadway dance school for tap, so I enjoyed tap dancing. I pulled my shoes out maybe 2 years ago, trying to do a little bit, but I love tap dancing, and I love modern dance when I was a lot younger. That was my thing to do. I thought at one point I was going to be like a professional dancer, but I'm a very tall young lady. I'm 6'3". So it was always a challenge when I would go to auditions. Like the last audition I had was some many years ago, but I was trying to be a rockette, and I did the choreography and everything. And then at the end, my instructor was like, you don't meet the height requirement. I think you had to be like 5'2", 5'6", between 5'2" and 5'6". So I was so bummed out. And I think that kind of shut down the dream of dancing for me.
And did you take art classes in high school at all, or did you just pursue that
Yeah.
kind of as a hobby, like at home?
Well, it was mainly a big hobby for me all the time. Like always, I was either doing pottery or art design. It was just always there. But I did take a few classes in high school on it. I actually took a class in college for it. So for me, it was just something that I had to do. Like I have to do. I think now I enjoy it so much more that I'm like constantly trying to create something. Even when I'm like on my phone trying to do media or doing something, like I'm still trying to create, or I'll see something and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can mimic that in a pattern or mimic that in some sort of design for my home. So yeah, true to the form.
And so I know you said you took an art class in college. That makes me think you didn't go to art school. So what did you study in
Mm-mm.
college?
Business,
Okay.
business, which is so ironic. Everyone that meets me and spends time with me, they're wondering like, why didn't you become like an art professor or something to that field? And I'm like, I don't know. I just had a thing for business as well, and being able to take something and create a business. So, that was in the back. I think that's why I try to mesh my own personal brand together with my creative brand as well.
Yeah. So you studied business in college. And when you got out of college, did you immediately like go into business, or what kind
Yeah,
of
I
jobs
went
did you
in.
have?
So most of my jobs were always running stores. So I went straight out. I was store managing different stores and doing that for business. I did try my hand at my own business for a little while, especially when the kids were small and I took some time to be a stay-at-home mom. Um, but I wasn't too passionate. I think I fell into that. I just want to create instead of running the business. So I would focus on the creative side more than actually running the business. So, maybe in the near future, I'll definitely take a crack at balancing both the business component and the creative side.
Yeah, I think that is relatable to so many people for whom,
Yeah.
you have a creative business, but love the creative part and not so much the business part.
Yes, yes, yes. I think you fall into it so quickly because you just want to create, right? And then you realize you have to, especially when it comes to the crafting and the creative aspect, you have to figure out the price points, and you have to figure out um, how you're going to profit off of this somehow, some way. And then it becomes, instead of the passion, it starts to become somewhat of a burden. So you end up just staying, stagnant. And I kudos to those. I admire those who can balance both. But I know for me, it has always been a struggle. I'm going to attempt again to try and create, craft to career life, but it really is like the biggest challenge, I think, especially when you're in the quilting or you're in the sewing business.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I hear that very clear from so many people. And so I know you had said your mom loved to sew, and you learned to sew from your mom. Do you remember those initial projects that you did with her, or
Oh,
something early
yes.
that you created?
Yes, yes. There's so many, but the ones that stand out are the ones that meant so much to me. And one of them was my mom's piecing ability I talk about this in other interviews that I've shared. She pieced together this beautiful quilt that I actually took from her house, and I'm keeping it as my family heirloom that I hope to pass on to my children. But there were these little circles that she cut out. And back then, she didn't have access to a lot of the fun uh, cutting machines that we use today when we're piecing. She just had this little template of paper and she cut out all these rings, and she just kept collecting different fabrics from people who would donate to her, from stuff she would buy. And then she pieced them together one by one. And I helped her piece them together. And I remember us sitting on the bed and she's just showing me how you piece them together and how you sew them and the lock stitch that she would use. And that was like the most amazing time for me as a little kid, seeing my mom create this beautiful, heavy quilt that was so warm for her kids, and she was using her hands. And I think when I became pregnant and had my own children, that the quilting just came back to me because I could remember how amazing it was, and that feeling she gave me, I wanted to give to my kids. So that's why I said I started going back to creating and sewing quilts and making quilts for their beds, because it just felt like it just feels like home and family, and I wanted my kids to have that experience as well. So yeah, there was definitely that memory just always stands out to me, and I just love that memory for teaching me how to hand piece together quilt.
And so when you were pregnant, I know you have 3 sons, is that right?
Three boys, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
when you were pregnant with your first son, and that was when sort of that idea of quilting returned to your mind, did you create something for him in anticipation of his
Yes,
birth?
I did. I did. And it's so funny too, because of course, I had girlfriends that we were all in the same, as walking around with the same big bellies, I should say. So I started making quilts for their babies too. And it was so crazy because, like the other day, I saw a picture of my girlfriend's baby and she had the baby wrapped around in the quilt. And all I could think about is like that time was like, it was so warm and so I can't even explain how I felt making these beautiful baby quilts. It was just something that just went along with the mood or what I was experiencing at that point in my life. It just felt like home. I was creating home.
And how did you learn how to make them? Were you getting patterns from books or from a local quilt store, or were you already looking online to find out how to
So
make
the
them?
yeah, so the beauty about quilting that I try to share with most of the people that I come across in teaching and in learning is that I didn't use patterns in the beginning. What I would do was just create. I would see something and I would look at the different shapes and I would just start creating. I would go to the store and pick out a fabric that I like and I would just start piecing it together, because for me, I would remember how my mom would do it. Like my mom didn't have a lot of access to the patterns, and because where I grew up in the Bronx, there wasn't a lot of stores that catered mainly to quilting. So for us, it was like we would just see these patterns, whether it be a pattern on, in the subway or walking home or what have you. We would see these patterns and we'll just start creating them. We would just put them together. There wasn't too many measurements or trying to figure it out. We would just take these patterns, take beautiful fabrics that just, jumped out at us and create. So for me, when I started going back to quilting, I was amazed by all of the different techniques and styles. I had YouTube, I had all these different different factors to figure out how I was going to create my quilts. But amazingly, it was just me creating. I just went to the fabric store, picked up what I wanted, and I just pieced together what the design would look like. And I would just go for it and sew it. And then as I progressed and as the boys started getting older and my quilts started getting bigger, I would utilize a lot of different TV, YouTube, social media techniques that other quilters were doing. And I used to be so afraid to call myself like a quilt designer or a quilter because I didn't think I was quilting. I thought I was just sewing. And then someone said, no, you're quilting your quilts. You sandwich them together. So this is what quilting is. This is the form of it. And it blossomed into something so amazing. And I was so happy to, adorn myself with the title of Your Quilt Artist.
I want to take a minute now to talk about our sponsor, Sublime Graphics. Here is a message from Sublime Graphics. We are a small business that started during the pandemic. Our goal is to provide high-quality prints and promotional items with fast turnaround and great customer service. Printing is our business and our only business. We print sewing patterns for indie designers and individuals on 3 choices of paper, up to 36 inches wide. This includes tissue paper, which is more durable than what you would get with store-bought sewing patterns, but it's still translucent enough to make tracing onto fabric easy. If your patterns come with the ability to print specific sizes, we can do that for you for no extra charge. Just drop us a note during the ordering process. Color or black and white are the same price. We charge per pattern, not by the page. If you're an indie pattern designer, we want your business. Sublime Graphics specializes in small runs to help you manage your cash flow. Sublime Graphics prints custom-designed graphic t-shirts and mugs. You can send us your artwork or choose from a variety of pre-printed options. We offer a variety of styles and colors. There are no setup fees, and small runs for clubs or small businesses or individuals are not a problem. They're our specialty. Looking for wall art? We have a variety of posters to choose from. Don't see what you like? Upload your artwork to us. We'll print it for you on archival quality acid-free poster paper with high quality inks. Posters print up to 36 inches by 60 inches on poster paper. If you prefer art canvas, then prints can be up to 24 inches wide. We are offering a special discount for listeners of the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. Take $5 off your first order with the coupon code CIA5. You can join our mailing list on our website. Members get special sales and product previews. So check us out at www.sublimegraphics.com/CIA. That's GRAFX for graphics. Thank you so much, Sublime Graphics. And now back to my conversation with Porfiria. And how did you do you remember some of the early kind of discoveries of the online culture of quilting? Because there's really a robust community online of people who quilt. And oftentimes, when you don't know that even exists, and then you kind of see it for the first time, there's maybe a particular maker or designer, YouTuber, somebody who whose work really appeals to you or whose instructions speak to you. And I don't know whether you can remember somebody who, when you first discovered the online world of quilting, really helped you or stood out to you.
Yeah, there's a few, and I don't want to butcher names because I'm terrible with names. So I'm just going to make sure. But one that I will always remember is Angela Waters.
Yeah.
Walters. I think it was Walters. Angela
It's Walters.
She used to have a show. Yeah, it's Walters, right? So she used to have a show, Quilting is My Therapy. Yeah. I was obsessed with her for the longest. One of the reasons I remember when she had her small children and she was trying to balance. So that's why she had this show called Quilting is My Therapy or Midnight. I think it was called Midnight Quilting or something like that.
Yes.
And she had this she had this show and she would pour her glass of wine and have her popcorn. And I remember that same feeling. I would, once my kids got home, I was a stay-at-home mom for quite some time, which I was so blessed and thankful for that experience. But once I got them in bed, I would pour a glass of wine and I would make my popcorn with Tabasco sauce, which is my thing. Don't knock it till you try it. And I would watch her show and I would learn her techniques and learn how she did it. And I just enjoyed her so much. And I felt like she was so relatable because I had been used to I grew up with quilters. I did see them most of my childhood. Like we have friends and family. My mom would tell me about my grandmother's quilt. I'm sorry, my great grandmother's quilt, because that's who used to quilt more. And she would tell me about these stories. So I was exposed to it, but not the way Angela was doing it. And when I saw Angela doing it, I was so intrigued because it was like it was like my girlfriend, like we're sitting at the table and we're quilting and we're making. So she would have, that was one of the earlier shows I would watch. And at that point, there was a few websites that I would go to and see the different techniques of quilting. But Angela just seemed so modern, even though she was doing traditional quilt making. It just seemed like it was a part of my journey growing up as a young mom, and that era of my life. It just meshed well for me. So she was one of the ones that I will not ever forget, but I remember enjoying so much of.
And how did you first begin sharing what you were making? Did you start on Instagram? You have a really beautiful Instagram presence. Yes. Or did you start with a website? I mean, it sounds like somebody, I don't know who it was, pointed out to you, hey, you're a designer, you're a quilter. And so once you sort of realized that, what was the next step to kind of sharing what you were doing?
Oh my God. So it's so interesting. I started blogging in 2004. Wait, let me make sure I get my numbers right. Because my son was born in it was 2004. I started blogging. This is when we had blog her. It was, I'm giving you my age. But I started in 2004, and then I transitioned after I had my kids in 2006, I started posting pictures. It's probably out there somewhere because nothing goes away from the internet. But in 2006, I think I posted my first kids quilt. I had made this little, I think it was like a forest inspired quilt for my son. And that was around 2006, 2007. And I was mommy blogging. So I was writing, things I was using for them and what worked. And it kind of started transitioning into Facebook. And then from Facebook, it started transitioning to Instagram. And I love Instagram. The Instagram quilting community and crafting community have been so amazing. The inspirations that you can find. So I just wanted to see more of what I wanted to see. So as years started, going along, I was like, I'm going to be the inspiration I want to see. I want to see people doing things like what I do. I want to see people who look like me. I want to see more of my style of creativity. And it just kept blossoming, and that's what I just kept doing.
And so it sounds like Instagram really has been a good community for you. And I would love to talk a little bit about your Instagram sort of approach, or I guess if they're a strategy, if they're really, if you think of it that way. But when you're getting ready to create posts on Instagram, whether that's like a photo or you do a lot of reels and things like that, how do you think about what you're putting there? Some people are very, very careful about curating their feed so all the images work well together and things like that. Some people are a little bit more interested in real life pictures, whether they're perfect or not. And so do you take a whole big batch of photos at once, or how do you kind of approach posting on Instagram?
So I hope to approach it better. Believe it or not. I feel like thank you for the compliment, but I feel so like it's so disorganized. But how I do approach it is I like to put out what I want to see, like what I like to see on other Instagram feeds, or I try my hardest to put out exactly what I want to see. So for me, it's all about when I look at an image, what I start to feel, and I want that someone to experience that same feeling of excitement or calm or joy. So I try my hardest to create pictures that are cohesive. So when you're looking at my site, I try, if you notice that there'll be between 6 to 8 photos of like the same color blocks that I use, and then I'll switch it over. A lot of the color blocks that are on my feed are colors that I use every day, all the time. So for me, it's just I try to be very cohesive with it. I mean, going forward this year, my goals are to put out a lot more photographs and a lot more reels. Of course, I think that's almost all of us. But I really like to create things based on what I want to see or what I'm excited about right now in my life. I start to post up a lot of pictures about that. So yeah, that's pretty much my dynamic when it comes to my feed.
And let's talk a little bit about your color palette, because you have a very sort of consistent, I feel like, sense of color or use of color. And I don't know if you would describe it as like a warm earth tone range or something like that. That's how I describe it. But how do you think about the colors you're drawn to?
I just want you to know you're making my day totally because because that's exactly what I'm all about, earth tones, and that's what I want to stay with. So I'm a big, I consider myself like a tree hugger. I love being outside. I love the natural elements of life. So for me, I want that to show in what I'm creating. Even some of the projects I'm working on now, they go back to my visit last year, where QuiltCon was in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was just in love with what I saw in their gardens and in their deserts. It was just amazing. So I kind of used those elements to try and create what's going to be, what I'm going to share in the near future.
And I noticed that you do a lot of collaborations, and I think that's really great. And one of the things that I thought was really striking is in your Instagram profile, right, where you can write a few lines of text. You have a line there that says collaboration, and then a colon, and then your email address. And I thought that was really wise, because if you're interested in collaborations, putting the fact that you are interested in collaborations and how to get in contact with you right there in your profile is like, makes it so easy and so clear to everybody that this is something that you do.
I love collaborating. Sometimes I do take off more than I can chew. I'll be honest with you, because I want to do everything. But I love the collaborations of meeting two creative minds coming together and showcasing something amazing. So I'm always looking to collab with others. I also know that at this point in my crafting quilting career, there are others that are growing or coming, starting their own crafting and quilting career, and maybe they don't have the same followings that I may have. So I know where I was at one point, and I was trying to collab with others to grow, and it was such a challenge. And I said, if I ever get to a point where I can, pull someone up, I definitely will. And that's one of the reasons why I'm always looking for collabs as well.
And has it worked to put this in the Instagram profile? Yeah. In other words, have people then either emailed or DM'd you because they saw that?
Yeah, I have gotten emails from different people who say, you know what, I have a book coming out, or I have a pattern coming out. Are you interested in testing or reviewing? And I'm like, yeah, let me know how I can help or where I could be of some help to you. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that's a good tip for people. And I know that you've done some especially interesting and exciting collaborations. One of them is with Aurifil threads. And I think most folks in the quilting world know about Aurifil, but they're an Italian sort of premium thread brand that a lot of quilters prefer. And they do these collaborations with designers where they curate a beautiful color range of thread and sort of brand it to the designer. And it's really a neat product. And it sounds like you have more than one or a new one coming out as well. So how did that collaboration
Yes.
come about? Like, how did you connect with Arifel? Was it at QuiltCon or online?
Yes. Yeah, it was definitely at QuiltCon, but it was also I would had the art opportunity to be one of their artisans. So every year they have you have access to apply to be an artisan on their website, and then if you're one of the fortunate ones to get picked, you become an artisan, and you utilize their threads and you talk a little bit about their threads. So for me, it's like my go-to threads. Like I use that consistently, even prior to becoming one of their artisans. But I wanted everybody to kind of like my collection that I had launched last year was like all of my favorites. And they're like these neutral colors that I felt like there's nothing better than having neutral colors. They'll never go out of style. You'll never need anything else. Even if you're using the brightest of the brightest color palettes, those neutrals will still do the job that you need it to do. So I was so excited to have the opportunity to collaborate when we spoke about me having a possible collection and moving forward. And I wanted to have a collection with my style and my personality on it because I hadn't seen someone like produce the same type of aesthetic that I did. So I thought this would be such a great opportunity for people to see me with a thread line.
Yeah, so exciting. I think that's
Yes,
really great. It's a great product. And another really awesome and inspiring collaboration you've done is with the other women who work together with you on Color of Connection, which is just such a cool project. And I wondered if you could explain what it is and kind of how it came about.
So Color of Connection was 3 quilters who came together who pretty much wanted to create, showcase a relationship of inclusivity. I'm sorry. For us, when it started, it was pretty much sharing how George Floyd situation happened in 2020, and there was so much going on, and there was so many people dealing with the division and just a hard time in the world. And we wanted to show how we were from 3 different walks, 3 different backgrounds came together over quilting, and how that was so monumental for all of us. It was just about the quilting and where we were and the things that we go through and just having good conversations over creating a beautiful quilt that lasts a lifetime. So it has been a journey for us as well. Sadly, the journey did end last year. Both Michelle and Kiana want to focus on family right now. And Michelle just gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. So she's going to focus on being a mom right now. Color of Connection is still very much going to go forward. I actually am, since I'm one of the original founders, I want to keep it going because I do want to showcase how everybody and anybody should be able to create and quilt and have great conversations over it. So that's how Color of Connection came about.
Yeah, it's really a wonderful idea of the way that craft brings us together and helps us to talk about our lives together and share our perspectives with one another. So I was really inspired by it, and I hope it continues because I think it's such a good idea.
Yes. I was just going to share how going forward, we have some new designers that are going to be helping. So you're going to see like a whole new slew, which this is exactly what we wanted to happen, of different walks of life, different people from walks of life coming together and just quilting. So we look forward to what's going to happen in the near future.
Oh, great. Yeah, that sounds like really exciting. So keep your eye on the Color of Connection website. And I'm sure you will also post about it on your Instagram so people can keep up to date with the future there. Yeah. And I know you've had some other really cool opportunities too. I wanted to touch briefly on a fashion one. So you love to wear hats and you're actually an ambassador for a hat company. And I thought that was super cool.
Yes, I am such a fan of Giggy Pip hats. I love them. And it was so awesome to become one of their brand ambassadors. So every video, I think, and all my content on my Instagram, I'm always wearing a hat, and everyone's asking me, where do I get the hat? So the hats are also going to be available on my site as well, if anybody is interested in those as well. And there's going to be a few hats that have a few of my own creative crafting art on it. So I look forward to
Oh,
that
so
happening. Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah. And did that collaboration also come about via Instagram? In other words, did you like tag them and they saw, hey, this woman's wearing
Yes.
hats all the time. Maybe we should.
Yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did because once again, I was constant. All my content, you'll always see me wearing a hat. I think you can't see me without the hat. So it just meshed well and worked out for me.
Yeah, that's cool. And I know you're working on a book, which again is like a dream for a lot of designers, although of course writing a book is a ton of work. So sometimes it's like,
It
feels like
is.
you said earlier, kind of feels like a burden at times, but tell us about the book. It sounds like the book has got stories and quilts from your culture.
Yes, it definitely does. I'm so excited about it. We were hoping to launch it last year, but we need more time for a few more things to go through. But it should be coming out this fall. And so 2023 fall. It definitely will speak to just me, growing up and the culture that I have, being a BIPOC individual, Black and Indigenous. It's just been a journey for me creatively, showcasing family, friends, and how quilting pretty much got started and just recipes behind it because I also do love to cook and share food. And that's one of the reasons why my site is called Eat Quilt Joy, because it talks about all of the things that I love. And that's what the title of the book will be as well, Eat Quilt Joy by myself. So I'm looking forward to that coming out this fall.
We're excited about that. And we will look for it in the fall of 2023. And I'll try to include it in the Craft Industry Alliance newsletter and things like that when it comes out, because it sounds
oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, really fabulous. So I would love to make sure we get to some recommendations from you, because you have recommended some really nice things on your Instagram, and I'm sure you probably have some other things to recommend as well. But one of the things I noticed recently was some tools from a company called a Modern American Vintage, and they're like beautifully crafted, like wooden tools that you can use while quilting. I don't know if you have some tools from there that you enjoyed the most.
Yes, they are amazing tools. I love them. I actually, they're all crafted differently. So you will never get two sets together that are the same. And I love them. I use them all the time. I'm actually getting ready to order another set because if you go to their site, they always have beautiful different designs and aesthetics. So I look forward to get, but yeah, they are totally my go-to tools to use when I'm quilting. I'm also a huge fan of the new iron that just launched from Mimi G.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's 5 Oliso. I love that iron. When I tell you, it is like my favorite iron right now, and there's going to be so much content behind it because it's just like my favorite iron. It's so pretty. It looks so great. I was so excited when Mimi G partnered with Oliso to create this beautiful iron. So yeah, that's my other go-to as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I first saw it, I was like, I've never seen, is it leopard print or cheetah? I can't remember.
Yes.
I've never seen an iron with an animal print on it.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. I
yes,
love it.
I as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I have to get this iron in my life. So I was like, and that's another collaboration because like I said, in the future, you're going to see some videos and some pieces that I put together to collab with this iron as well.
Yeah, that's super cool. So that's great. And Porfiria, it's just been really fun and inspiring to talk to you and learn more about you and about your quilting history and all the ways you've built this business through really creating content, putting it out there, and being open to working with other people.
Yeah. I've enjoyed it quite so much, and I look forward to doing more and creating more and sharing more in the future.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. It was great talking to you.
It was awesome talking to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And you've been listening to the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg. Today's episode was sponsored by Sublime Graphics. Sublime Graphics is the printer of choice for your PDF sewing patterns, digital artwork, personalized mugs, and graphic tees. They offer a variety of paper choices and fast turnaround. Check them out at www.sublimegraphics.com/CIA. That's graphics spelled GRAFX. Podcast listeners get a $5 off coupon. Thank you so much, Sublime Graphics. Craft Industry Alliance is a community for craft professionals. When you become a member of Craft Industry Alliance, you get in-depth coverage of craft industry news, the opportunity to connect with fellow professionals for advice and support, and access to an educational library filled with ideas, tools, and resources to help you as you build your business. Join us at craftindustryalliance.org. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.